Well, boy, if you are a Big 12 fan and you're an ESPN hater, tonight was the night for you, my friends. This was the perfect night for you because TCU completely ruined the Bill Belichick love fest and destroyed North Carolina on the road. So is TCU a prime Big 12 contender? Will the nation respect the Big 12 a little bit more now? Let's talk, okay? Let's have a late night chat about all this. I thought this would be fun. I didn't have the watch along tonight as planned. My apologies for that, but we can basically watch the last 10 minutes of this game as it's ticking off right now. TCU just recovered a fumble. It's 41-14. At one point, this was 41-7. TCU had this place cleared out. This stadium was more than half cleared out by the 7-minute mark of the third quarter. The third quarter. Bill Belichick's debut, 10 months of hype and build-up, an entire ESPN crew at this game. They have the college game day set up there. They wouldn't dare go to Ireland for K-State, Iowa State, but they sure as hell will show up for Bill Belichick's first game, which turned into a circus. I mean, TCU just pantsed them in front of Michael Jordan, Randy Moss, Lawrence Taylor, Mia Hamm, Roy Williams. I'm not sure who else was in the house, but that was certainly a list of nice dignitaries that were there that we got to see a lot in the crowd. Interestingly, though, the crowd shots really died down pretty quickly. we did not see a whole lot of crowd shots after the first, like 5 to 7 minutes of game time. And again, this eventually built up to 41-7 midway through the third quarter. Early on, I mean, the crazy part of this game is that early on, it looked like ESPN was getting exactly what it wanted. 7 plays, 83 yards, and a touchdown for North Carolina after taking the opening kickoff. And I will admit, this is where I got to give a shout out to my guy Stats of War, Parker, who is a TCU fan. You should go follow him on Twitter. Great follow. Parker always tweets that meme of his that's like, okay, great. Now show me after the scripted drives. And that's basically what we had here. Like this setup for it was better, honestly, that it happened this way, where the beginning of the game turns into a picture perfect drive for North Carolina, 7 plays, 83 yards for a touchdown. And it's because this was astutely pointed out by Kirk Herbstreit on the broadcast, but it was astutely pointed out that, hey, nobody knew what Bill Belichick's offense was going to be, or I guess it's Freddie Kitchens' offense technically, which I don't know, guys. Can we do the say it out loud test? Like Freddie Kitchens is running your offense in 2025. I mean, I get that it's college football and it's an OC job and not the head coaching job, but like, I don't know. Feels like Arizona State fans could tell you a lot about how running the retread NFL coach thing works a lot of times. Anyway, set up perfectly. TCU, Andy Avalos had no idea what to expect. No film on this. No idea what kind of offense is going to come. North Carolina's got like 70 new players, right, this year. So you have no idea what's coming. So it makes sense. Stands to reason that first drive could be TCU really back on their heels. They were. And so it's a party, man. We're seeing MJ up there hanging out with Lawrence Taylor and Roy Williams, like Randy Moss. I know. Somebody tell me why the hell Randy Moss is at this game. Whatever. Randy Moss is there, and it's just a party. ESPN thinks they got what they want, and then TCU just rained all over it. And I see Josh Hoover just threw another touchdown pass. We're getting more surrender Cobras as it's now 47-14 with 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And it wasn't just the opening drive. TCU then had to punt, right? So Josh Hoover and company, the first frog drive wasn't exactly spectacular. And it's like, I was sitting there looking like, oh man, like, the Big 12 is really going to take a beating here. If they didn't get it done against Auburn the other night, they couldn't get Cincinnati over the hump against Nebraska. Colorado lost, and now you're going to go out and lose to Belichick. I was thinking this is not looking good. But it was all TCU from there, man. Completely fell apart. TCU's defense played a huge role. Josh Hoover was out there slinging the rock. Hopefully this is a nice announcement to the world that Josh Hoover exists, because sometimes I don't think even the Big 12 realizes enough that Josh Hoover exists and is a tremendous quarterback. He just throws the most beautiful ball of about anybody that I've ever seen. And his first touchdown pass was very emblematic of that. And then it was really turned over to the TCU defense. The Bud Clark pick six. That was kind of the first real turning point of the game, made it 17-7. Bud Clark, who's been around for like 20 years, that's kind of like one of those Perry Ellis Big 12 football moments where you're like, how long has Perry Ellis been playing? Bud Clark's still around? Remember him making plays in the Fiesta Bowl against Michigan, but there he was with a pick six. And then to start the second half, to really blow it open, Kavorian Barnes had a 75-yard touchdown run. And, I mean, he's over 100 yards. Everybody's being introduced now to the former UTSA running back. It's clearly going to be a stalwart in the TCU backfield this year. So good stuff all the way around from TCU. Their defense would go on to score another touchdown. They got a fumble 6. Are we sure? I mean, the way Max Johnson looked, by the way, too, are we sure that Bill Belichick started the right quarterback tonight? Like, I'm not entirely sure that he did the right thing there. Like, can we just ask the question? Like, is Bill Belichick just washed? Like, is he totally washed? Like, he's got Freddie Kitchens running around calling offense for him, and they're starting a guy. I mean, look, I don't want to be too mean here, okay? But if I'm being honest, as I'm watching Gio Lopez out there, I'm just like, he doesn't seem overly quick. His decision-making ability didn't look very good. He was kind of like, it just felt slow moving around in the pocket sometimes. Like, for instance, on the play that turned into the scoop and score, the fumble 6, didn't seem like he had a great arm. He literally went, and this is one of the stats of the game. If I would have told you this going into the night, that TCU was going to hold North Carolina without a completed pass for 2 hours and 7 minutes. 2 hours and 7 minutes of real time. And shout out to ESPN for all the love fest that they were giving North Carolina. I guess really this is the opposite of it. They want to either love somebody or hate somebody. So they're thinking, well, drive engagement up by embarrassing Belichick with what's going on as much as we can right now. They put up that graphic of the last time he had completed a pass, like the literal last time, not game clock, but clock, 2 hours and 7 minutes without completing a pass. That is a hilarious stat. I'm not sure which looks worse, that 7-minute mark, the stadium's 2/3 empty, 7-minute mark of the third quarter, or that North Carolina went 2 hours and 7 minutes without completing a pass. I got to admit, I feel good for TCU from this standpoint. Like, Sonny Dykes and the fan base, all right? Like, the last 2 times this many people watched TCU became a complete punchline. I guess we'll have to see what the TV number will be from this. I'm sure right now it's not that big, but as of 7 o'clock Central Time tonight, I'm sure it was a monster number of people watching this game. And the last time TCU had this many people tuned in to watch them, they were busy losing the national championship game 65-7. Well, actually, that was not the last time. The other time was the Deion Sanders first game, right? The Coach Prime era starts at Colorado, and TCU loses at home 45-42 in the literal first game that they played after losing 65-7 with the nation watching them in the national championship game against Georgia. Like, 2 games that combined was just like a 1-2 punch, and nobody ever remembered again that TCU beat Michigan and was the last team to beat Michigan before they ripped off an unbeaten national championship season. Nobody remembers it because of what happened then when everybody was watching after that. So this has got to be cathartic for the Frogs, man. Like, finally, everybody tuned in, and we got to drop the hammer, and this becomes, I would say, all about TCU, but we know full well it's not all about TCU. It's all about Belichick, and then we're doing the Max Johnson feel-good story, which is fine. That's what you got to do as a broadcaster at this point. But as much as it could be, you're forcing ESPN to highlight TCU in the Big 12 as much as you possibly can, because what else are they going to do when it's 48-14 now here in the waning moments of the game? And really, after those 2 games that I mentioned where everybody saw TCU lose and in kind of embarrassing fashion, the Colorado game just couldn't stop them at all, gave up 45 points. Obviously, they couldn't stop anything when Georgia put 65 on them. And then for the rest of 23 and 2024, TCU was in pretty relative obscurity. There was not, once again, I feel like even in the Big 12, there was just hardly any chatter about TCU last year, which was partially because they took another rough one on the chin, which was getting just lambasted by SMU last year at the beginning of the year, and everybody kind of wrote TCU off. So, look, we'll talk about like what this means. Like, how much can you take from this? Is North Carolina actually any good? Before you get to all that, just say, hey, this is cathartic and fun. If you're a Big 12 fan, if you're a TCU fan, you got to enjoy this, right? You got to enjoy this because the national college football world's not talking about you very often, and you got to come and completely spoil the party for not just college football fans, but this was spoiling the party for the casuals, okay? This was spoiling the party for the casuals. Michael Jordan showed up tonight, right? I mean, sounds like he doesn't show up to very many things at North Carolina. You got that dude to show up in a suite, be on TV, rocking his full Tar Heel blue outfit, and you're making him sit through watching you just completely destroy his alma mater. They just gave a cut to a crowd shot with 7 minutes left of the game. Boy, it's like 10% of the stadium there, man. It looks like what Chapel Hill looks like right now. It looks like the Rose Bowl did on Saturday when Utah was playing there. A little bit less red because Utah fans traveled very well there. But, I mean, yeah, it looks like your typical UCLA home game. So, man, barely any mention of TCU and company before the game. Not much cursory mention of like, hey, they're probably going to be really fired up because all the talk is about Belichick and whatever. Not much mention of the Frogs, but there is now. There is now. All right, so significance of this. What does this mean for TCU? All right, do we take TCU as a serious contender in the Big 12 now at this point? I think it's a very good question. I honestly have no idea. Like that would be my answer. And I'm not hating on TCU at all for this. I'm not trying to take anything away from TCU's performance, but you guys watched North Carolina tonight. Like, does that strike you as a particularly good team? You know, so what we know is that TCU is competent enough to go on the road and just crush a bad team. And this is a little bit different because, while North Carolina does look the part of a bad team, they had a pretty hype environment tonight. This was a tough environment to go play in. Basketball, wine and cheese crowd, you can say all of that, but it was packed and they were juiced up. They were excited. You got a full student section there. Like, as good as the environment can be at North Carolina, you got that and you had to deal with that. And then TCU fell behind 7-0 and punted. And so you're like, wow, I mean, that was really like a bit of a gut punch. And you're facing what looks like a total party for UNC, and ESPN's there and celebrities and all this. There is some pressure there, and TCU handled it just fine, went about their business, scored a touchdown, and scored 41 unanswered points. So they had the composure to do that. This is a little bit different. I was trying to think of a comp to like what this would be. If you're going to say, like I am, hey, we don't know what North Carolina is. Are they actually a good team? You can come back and say, all right, well, even if they're not, what would we have said about a team last year that went to West Virginia, say, and won a game like 48-14? And West Virginia, well, typically a pretty good environment. I think, last year, the Neil Brown era, was not West Virginia at its peak. Certainly wouldn't have been what this environment was like at the beginning of the night. I think you would have said, all right, yeah, that's probably a pretty good Big 12 team if you can go do that to like a 5-7, 6-6 type of team in the Big 12 last year, or maybe like Houston. If you went to Houston and won 48-14, I mean, nobody's throwing you a parade, but that it takes being a pretty competent to good team to go do that, even when you're playing an overmatched team on the road. So that's kind of my now. Does that mean TCU can't be a Big 12 title contender? No, absolutely not. They definitely can be. They, as has been discussed ad nauseum on this channel and others throughout the offseason, they have a pretty difficult schedule. SMU is still on it. But if we're talking about just the Big 12, they still, at least at the beginning of the year, it appeared to be, had a pretty tough Big 12 schedule. Now, part of that is they have to go to Manhattan, Kansas. That's not looking nearly as tough as it did. So should you consider TCU in the group of contenders? No doubt. And if you are power ranking Big 12 teams as of right now, it depends on how exactly you want to do it, how much you're factoring in your preseason expectation, how much you're factoring in coaching, how much you're factoring in what the schedule is, all these different things. But if you're doing it just solely based on accomplishments so far this year, then, I mean, TCU would have an argument for number one. I think the argument would be with Iowa State and Utah. And to me, I mean, I can just go ahead and give this away. I'll do some power rankings later this week, but I would have Iowa State number one just based on a combo of preseason expectations and resume, having already won a conference game against a team that I think is at least going to wind up being solid, and then just completely destroying a very good FCS team the week after. But TCU is right there. I mean, how do you compare this with like what Utah did? Everybody was really impressed with Utah. Like Utah turned heads across the country on Saturday, not just me, but across the country. Utah turned heads on Saturday by thumping UCLA on the road. They didn't thump them quite like this, though. Now, do you think North Carolina or UCLA is better? I don't know. Bill Belichick in the year of our Lord 2025 coaching college football versus Deshaun Foster. Dude, I don't know. I have no idea how to break that down and tell you who is a better coach and what's the better win there, but they're pretty comparable. Both teams really choked the life out of the other there, and I would say that they are pretty comparable wins. So you got to at least have TCU in the conversation right now after week one, and TCU should not have a problem this week. They've got a nobody on the schedule, and then we're going to find out a lot when they play SMU after that. SMU this time has to go to Amon G. Carter. So hopefully, I would certainly think that's going to go a little bit better than it did last year. As for the Big 12, I mean, does this help out the Big 12? It doesn't hurt. I don't know how much it really helps the Big 12 because very quickly, and you could see this coming a mile away before the game, very quickly the narrative will pivot to, well, Belichick, boy, what's going on there? Jordan Hudson, how much of a distraction is that? I mean, you're going to have Stephen A. on First Take tomorrow riffing about how, Jordan Hudson is a major distraction, the worst thing that's ever happened to Belichick, and Carolina's a joke for paying him $10 million a year. And, it's going to pivot to that. It's not going to be a whole lot of, wow, TCU and the Big 12 were impressive. It's going to be what a mess and what a nightmare this is for Bill Belichick. Like, what is he doing coaching college football? North Carolina is in way over its head here and leveraged for way too much money. So I don't think it's going to do a ton for you. But I think this would have mattered more with a loss than it does with a win. Like the loss would have hurt you more than a win is going to help you. So avoiding that loss and just giving the Big 12 some fun, right? Just giving the Big 12 some fun. You put ESPN, who has always drawn the ire and scorn of Big 12 fans and has for a long time, you put them in sort of an uncomfortable spot where they're like, oh, well, okay, I guess we gotta love up the Big 12 team here and say some nice things about it. It's nice to get a demonstrative head-to-head win over the ACC too, after Georgia Tech beat Colorado, and the ACC had a couple of huge wins. Last I talked to you guys, we didn't have the full scope and full results of the Miami game. Miami holds on and gets a huge win over Notre Dame, and then obviously Florida State crushed Alabama, which was quite entertaining to see. So the ACC is going to get a lot of run, and rightfully so for all of that. But it's nice. It's nice to get a little something. Nice to get a little something in there. So, in closing, and I do want to get to some of your comments. I appreciate all you guys for hanging out here. If you have a super chat that you want to submit to support the channel, click the $ below the chat box to do that. Appreciate anybody who does support there. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, if you're just finding this for the first time. Talk college football from a Big 12 perspective, week in, week out here, typically live shows on Wednesdays and Sundays. And you'll get other content too. Subscribe to the Open for Business Big 12 newsletter at ofbnews.com. You can join 5,100 plus other Big 12 fans who do that. But one final thought here, people. Bill Belichick and Tom Brady won 6 Super Bowls together. Sonny Dykes is beating Bill Belichick 48-14 as of the 2-minute warning of this game. 2-minute timeout, sorry. What would Tom Brady have done with Sonny Dykes? What would Tom Brady have done with Sonny Dykes? How many titles would Tom Brady have won with Sonny Dykes at the helm? After what we're seeing right now, I don't know. What do you set the limit at, guys? 12? Would Brady have ever not made the Super Bowl with Sonny Dykes coaching him up? I'm here for any and all jokes that you have about this situation. Okay. What's up, Darius? Good to hear from you. Thank you for being here. Darius says TCU versus Texas Tech championship is going to be crazy. Well, that would be a little bit karmic, right? Because we don't get that game in the rotation of Big 12 scheduling. So that would make some sense. I think I have that right. Right? Is that game not happening this year? Go check the TCU schedule before I say that too definitively. Yeah, not happening this year. So it would be karmic. It would be karmic. It's interesting though, Darius. You're out on Utah. You don't think it's going to be Utah? You don't think Iowa State? I mean, I think the Big 12 race looks very, very interesting after week one. Dangerous to make too many sweeping conclusions after week one. Very dangerous to do so, but everybody will. I understand that's sort of the reality of the situation. And yeah, if you're doing it right now, you would say, man, I mean, it looks like Iowa State, Utah, TCU, perhaps just based on limited sample size, would be like the tier one of what you got. And then, hey, like Texas Tech, BYU, Kansas, hanging around after looking. I always use this analogy like the Monstars playing FCS teams, but just doing what you should do against FCS teams, taking them behind the woodshed and beating them. Texas Tech in particular just looked physically imposing in their game, assuming that Baron Morton is going to be healthy, which it sounds like he will be, not too big of a deal with the hyperextension. Then yeah, they absolutely belong in that discussion too, just untested. We don't know about them yet. I mean, Arizona State, I haven't even talked about like at all. They had sort of a ho-hum win over Northern Arizona. Sam Levitt had one awesome looking touchdown run. Obviously, I think it would be foolish to write them off. But yeah, that to me is kind of how the top of the Big 12 has shaped up after just some early season football here. Let's see if anybody else have anything to say about this from the chat. Let's see if there was anything fun here. TB12 forever. You know, I love this. We got the Tom Brady hive into the Big 12 chat tonight, people. I love this. Brady winning a Super Bowl without Bill says it all, and I think a lot of NFL owners see it the same way. We're getting our shots in at Bill Belichick from all over the place. Forget just the Big 12. Forget just college football. It's coming from Tom Brady fans, people. From Tom Brady fans. Get in here. You know what? I welcome in all Tom Brady fans. All Tom Brady fans are here. Here's another one. Here we go. Brady was the single most impactful player in the history of the NFL. Yes, I'm glad that you said was, because Patrick Mahomes is, but Tom Brady was. So I would agree with that. Do we have a Nico comment here? Yeah, Nico did have some trouble against Utah's defense. Did you see, by the way, the eye patch 11 that Deshaun Foster said, quote, "We were close," after watching the film of that game against Utah. Amazing stat. Utah pressured Nico Iamaleava on 59% of his dropbacks. Like, I don't think they were close. I don't think they were close, man. I do not think that they were close. Let's see. What else do we got? Oh, wow. Spicy take. UCF 3-0 going into conference play. I think yes. All right. Confidence rising for UCF after the Jacksonville State win. Hey, I'm not trying to take anything away from you, obviously. I witnessed in person the K-State game. Okay. Not trying to take anything away from you there. Now, here's some pushback. TCU probably a mid-level Big 12 team at best. I just don't think we know. I think they were better than mid-level last year. They did lose their top two offensive weapons, but so far tonight, it looks like they're going to be just fine as far as that goes. But we don't know what they're playing against. That is fair. We do not know what they are playing against. So it's tough to tell. Jacksonville State is no joke. I get it. I know. Ask West Virginia fans. They definitely know that. All right, this is about to go final. We got 43 seconds left. TCU, I think, is going to have to snap it one more time, take one more knee, and wrap up a 48-14 win, which is perfect because I think I'm about to wrap up the stream here. Just wanted to pop on and have a little fun tonight, guys, because for those of us in Big 12 country, it's a great moment to cap off an up and down weekend. Utah and TCU, the big highs, helping the Big 12 out there by smacking around the Big 10 and then the ACC, the latter of which came with a ton of media attention. This will be all over every single sports show, channel, etc., whatever. You can listen to whatever national show you want tomorrow, and you are going to hear at least a little bit of talk about TCU because of what they just did here to Mr. Bill Belichick. Yeah, the hoodie is walking off right now. I mean, this is crazy. They're just following him the whole way off the field. It is insane what ESPN is doing for this dude. I mean, I guess I get it. I get why Bill Belichick is interesting. I get why this thing is fascinating, but it seems like overkill, does it not? Does it not seem like overkill? A little bit. Hey, Sonny Dykes gets the Holly Rowe post-game interview. I'm frankly a little bit shocked by that. I understand that he won the game, and that's, the typical way you would do it. But I thought for sure we would just get another awkward Bill Belichick interview. I mean, Belichick only said about 5 total words in his pregame interview with Holly Rowe, who is one of the best in the business. He still had no interest in answering any questions there at all. So I'm sure they probably did not want to go back to him right now. What's that Belichick presser going to be like? God, can we get a UNC media member in here? I would love to. I should talk to my guy, Josh Graham, who works out in Winston-Salem and does an excellent job out there, about what a Bill Belichick North Carolina press conference is like. I would love to know what that is. Hey, Josh Hoover, speaking of love, he's getting some love from the fans there. Josh Hoover's a good quarterback, man. He can sling it. Will he be the first team All Big 12 quarterback? He should be in the conversation. I imagine that he's going to be. All right, hey, congrats TCU. Congrats Sonny Dykes. Congrats Josh Hoover. You deserve all the love. Getting one back after what happened in Deion's first game, getting one back after that national title game against Georgia. The nation now knows about TCU once again. Nice night for the Big 12. Fun night to hang out with all of you here. I will not be going live. We'll see on Wednesday. My schedule's a little tight on Wednesday. I'm going to try and still do the typical live show. If not, should be able to get something in on Thursday as well. And stay tuned. I think I can do something cool on Saturday also. So may try to pop in and do more spontaneous lives like this. Good reaction to it tonight. A lot of people in here. Great to see you all. Thank you for being here. And I will talk to you guys all very soon. Have a great start to your normal work week on Tuesday tomorrow.